Hi everyone, it's Matt from At the Movies with Matt Ryan. I'm here today to talk about the latest Netflix show, or one of the newest Netflix shows that is. I mean, they do release content pretty much on a weekly basis, but this came out just a few weeks ago. It's called Friends from College. A lot of big heavyweight comedic players such as Keegan Michael Key, Fred Savage, Nate Faxon, Kobe Schmolders, etc. But this show is one of the few shows I was really kind of interested in seeing before its release. The trailer definitely was up my alley in terms of tone and kind of approach. It's less a show about story and more so about just kind of a group of 30 something 40 somethings kind of living their life and coming back together after having such a great friendship in college. So that like those kind of shows interest me. I'm not really big on TV, and that's why you guys don't see a lot of TV reviews on the channel. But this show in particular, especially considering Netflix's hit streak when it comes to television at the moment. I mean, it feels like at least once a month they have a show that really breaks out. I mean, June had Glow, and there's Stranger Things, stuff like that. So I was interested to see this, and but what made me even most interested, I would say, is when the show finally came out and just how trashed it got by the critics and for reviews. I believe it has a 25% on Rotten Tomatoes right now, which is for television's sake pretty disastrous. Even bad shows that get canceled after one season typically even get in the the 30 to 40% range. So 25% is surprisingly bad. And a lot of the reviews I read before kind of diving into the show were mostly like, this is a giant waste of the talent of the cast. And all those reviews, I still wasn't dissuaded. So basically this is 8 episodes, a total of 4 hours. They're 30-minute episodes, and it follows a group of friends from Harvard who are facing down their 40s with interwoven and oftentimes complicated relationships with one another. Friends from College is a comedic exploration of old friendships, former romantic entanglements, and balancing adult life with nostalgia for the past. Now, the trailer, for those who have seen it, definitely focuses more on the comedic aspects of the show. But what surprised me most when watching it is how surprisingly kind of dark and dramatic that it gets. I mean, the show's central, you know, plot point, not it's not really a big spoiler. It's revealed the first scene of the show is an affair going on between Keegan Michael Key's character Ethan and Annie Parise's character Sam. And the show definitely takes its characters along some dark, I wouldn't say dark paths, but daring paths at least. And an early criticism for the show has been the characters are very unlikable, and they certainly make a lot of mistakes. And I think the audience's ability to stomach those mistakes and kind of, but while still trying to get behind the characters, I think that will certainly test a lot of audiences, because there are moments where you're really putting your hands on your head and saying, oh my God, why are you doing this? But at the same time, I really like that. First off, I like the show, and I really liked seeing a show that kind of had such deeply flawed characters, but still kind of took them seriously and wanted to explore their kind of dynamics with one another. A lot of comedies, like, or especially the comedies I like, Arrested Development and Always Sunny, the characters are unlikable, but they're always kind of taken as jokes. Like, the audience just pokes fun at them and makes fun of them. Here, we're kind of with the characters. We're experiencing their stresses and anxieties and all their insecurities over these 8 episodes, which I liked. It was definitely a mesh of comedy and drama that was very interesting to see. Personally, each episode at least had a few moments that made me laugh really hard. I think a lot of those moments come just from this cast riffing with each other and getting some really funny gags. The episode in particular that involves Ethan, played by Keegan Michael Key, and I forget his name, but Fred Savage's character writing their book, and they're after taking several drugs, they're just kind of running around the house and being manic. It was hilarious, and it's just funny to see this cast of actors work together because they're all very funny together. We have Keegan Michael Key, Fred Savage, Nate Faxon, Annie Parise. I mean, Billy Eichner makes a cameo appearance, or I wouldn't say cameo, but a extended appearance over a few episodes. So it's when you have so many talented comedic actors and you just let them work, naturally they're gonna make for some really funny moments. And I wouldn't say it's like one of the funniest shows I've ever watched. There was at least two or three pretty hearty laughs I would have for each episode. So I give the show credit for that. And I also give the show credit for, you could have an episode that is very deeply comedic and more so silly, and then the next episode would be far more dramatic. And I like that kind of contrast. And it was enjoyable to see, and you really didn't know what you were getting into going from episode to episode. And that kept me engaged as well. Dramatically, I think is the show. It's a bit of a mixed bag at points. The creators, Francesca Del Banco and Nicholas Stoller, who many know from Neighbors, I definitely think they have a lot of good intentions with these characters. At the same time, I kind of wish we understood why they act the way they act at certain points. That I mean, there's even the central relationship between the affair between Keegan Michael Key and Anna Parise. While their characters are very interesting, we kind of don't understand why after so many years they're still having this affair and staying together. But at the same time, I think the show does have something pretty interesting to say about nostalgia and how these nostalgic forces often drive how we act even if it's not in our best interest at the current moment. And it's fun to see this group of friends who, while they won't really admit it to each other, have grown apart since, but are kind of clinging to these past glory days. It's actually pretty sad, and I think the show, especially towards its latter episodes, keys in on that kind of sad factor. But I liked how the show could be at one moment very like thoughtful and sad, and then the next moment there's this really funny gag. There's a lot of funny gags going on in the background for as if you keep interested in the scenes. But yeah, I really like that kind of tonal mix. I definitely think the show is imperfect. Like I said, I wish there was a bit more dramatic insight into each of these characters. And I also wish it was more of an ensemble piece. It definitely focuses in on the love triangle between the Ethan and Sam, and then Ethan's wife, played by Kobe Schmolders. And while that's it's an interesting arc, it feels like some of the other characters aren't quite as well utilized, especially Nat Faxon, Fred Savage, and I'd say the criminally underused. Let me find the actor's name. Sorry. Ja Sue Park, who played Marianne, she's a part of the group, but it really doesn't feel like it because she has such little development across the episodes. But I'm unsure if there'll be a season two. Season one definitely ends at a very interesting and controversial point. But I really want there to be a season two, and I understand people's criticisms with the show. It's certainly the kind of show that's more up my alley than maybe most people, and maybe I have a certain bias to this kind of material, but I really enjoyed it. I liked it. Felt very daring at points with the balance between comedy and drama. And while I don't think each of the characters were kind of built with a lot of insight, I do think this show has something interesting to say, and I enjoyed seeing how that developed through from episode to episode. So even though the show's gotten trashed by critics, I think people should give it a few episodes to see if they'll like it at all. And I really hope people give it a chance because personally I would like to see a second season. Even I think even people who aren't giving this good reviews, it's not a show I think that's really bad. Like the filmmaking's not bad or anything like that. I just think it works for you or it doesn't. The characters are interesting or they're just off-putting and you're annoyed with them. And so I think it definitely will divide audiences in that respect. But I hope people give it a chance. So my rating for Friends from College season one, I give it a 7 out of 10. If you have a Netflix subscription, just go on Netflix right now. You can start watching, start binging it. I know I finished it in less than a week. But I hope you guys enjoyed this little review. I know we don't review TV much, but I had something to say about this, so I kind of wanted to talk about it a little bit. But please like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and have a great rest of your day. Thank you very much.